I probably shouldn't have let my boss come over that night, but I did. And now everything's a total mess I can barely explain. My name's Claire, I'm 32, living in Indiana with my husband Eric, who's 36. We've been married for 9 years, with 2 kids. Ethan, 8, and Mia, 5. On paper, we look like the perfect family. But honestly, our marriage hasn't been good for a long time. Eric's a decent guy, don't get me wrong. He works hard at his warehouse job and helps with the kids when I need him to. But sometimes, it feels like he's just there. No ambition, no drive. Like I'm married to a roommate who folds laundry. I work at a small marketing firm as assistant to my boss, Nathan. He's 44, always sharp-dressed and the loudest guy in the room. People respect him, and honestly, I like being around someone with that kind of energy. The kind that pushes you to move faster, do better. Maybe that's why I mentioned him to Eric more than I should have. I wasn't even trying to compare them, but somehow it just slipped out. A few Fridays ago, we had this work event. Nathan suggested we all hang out afterward, relax for once. I told him I couldn't because I had to get home to Eric and the kids. Then Nathan said, "Why don't I just come with you? I'll bring a bottle." At first, I laughed it off, but he was serious. I don't know why I agreed. I told myself it was to prove I had a stable home life. Dumb, I know. When we got home, Eric was in sweatpants and an old college t-shirt, sitting on the couch with a bowl of popcorn watching some cop show. The kids were playing Roblox on a tablet. It wasn't the put-together image I wanted Nathan to see, but it was reality. "Hey babe," I said, walking in with Nathan behind me. "This is my boss, Nathan. He's stopping by for a bit." Eric glanced up, barely looking at Nathan, and said, "Oh. Okay, not a hi, not a nice to meet you, just oh. Okay." I felt embarrassed before anything even happened. Nathan, of course, filled the room with his personality. He walked in like he owned the place, set the wine bottle on the counter and said, "Nice little setup you got here, man. Real cozy." That cozy had a shade to it, but Eric didn't catch it. I went to grab some glasses and overheard Nathan say, "So, what do you do, Eric?" Eric, still half watching the show, said, "I'm at the shipping center over on Broad Street." Nathan's voice rose like he was surprised. "Man, that sounds like tough work. Bet it's not easy on your back." "It's fine," Eric muttered, eyes glued to the TV. And then it started. Nathan chuckled, not friendly but that smug, "I'm better than you" kind of laugh. I peeked out from the kitchen and saw Eric's face tighten, jaw clenching, eyes squinting. I knew he heard it, but he said nothing. I stayed quiet too, thinking maybe if it bothered him, he'd speak up. I'm not his mom. Why should I protect his feelings? It wasn't that deep, right? He'd brush it off. We sat around the dining table, poured some wine, talked about work and life. Nathan was in his element, cracking jokes, telling stories about Italy. Meanwhile, Eric just sat there, arms crossed, like a kid in timeout. I asked him twice if he was okay. He just nodded. Then Nathan threw another jab. "Man, Claire, ever think about what life would be like if you married a guy like me? Not saying you should. Just saying, life might be a little different." I laughed. It was automatic, and the second it escaped my lips, I regretted it. Not because of Nathan's comment, but because Eric's eyes locked on me. Cold and hard. "You think that's funny?" he asked. I stopped laughing. "Oh, come on, Eric. He's joking. Lighten up. You're laughing a little too hard for it to be just a joke." Eric's tone sharpened. "Man comes into my house, starts clowning me, and you sit there grinning like it's a comedy show." I rolled my eyes. "Don't be so sensitive. You know how Nathan is. He jokes with everybody." Eric leaned forward, hands on the table. "Yeah, but he ain't in everybody's house, Claire. He's in mine." The room went quiet. Even Nathan had no comeback. But I couldn't let it go. "You're always like this, Eric. Always mad about something small. It's not that serious. I'm not about to babysit your feelings every time a man walks in the room." As soon as I said it, I knew I'd gone too far, but I wasn't backing down. I was already committed. Eric laughed, but it wasn't a real laugh. It was that tight, bitter one when you're done talking. He stood, shook his head. "Yep, that's about right, Claire. Always everybody else's fault but yours. Enjoy your wine." Then he walked out the back door, slamming it harder than it needed to. Nathan glanced at me, still sipping his glass like he was watching a movie. "Did I cross a line?" he asked, casual. I shook my head. "He's fine. He always gets like this when people challenge him, but he wasn't fine." I knew that. For some reason, I felt like I'd won something. If he wanted to play victim, fine. I'd be the bad guy. I told myself I didn't care. The next morning Eric was gone before I woke up. No note, no text, nothing. The bed was colder than usual. I reached out, expecting to feel him, but only felt the flat, empty side of the mattress. I thought maybe he left early for work, but something felt off. Eric wasn't the type to leave without a word. He'd at least send a text. I checked my phone. No missed calls, no messages. He was mad, I thought? Being petty. I shrugged it off and went about my morning routine. The kids were up early for pancakes. I fed them, sat at the table scrolling through TikTok while they watched cartoons. Every now and then, I glanced at the back door, like he might stroll in like nothing happened. But he didn't. By 11 a.m., I started feeling it. I texted, "Me, you good?" No reply. An hour later, I sent another, "Me, seriously? You just going to ignore me now?" Still nothing. I got annoyed. Now I was the bad guy over a joke. I tossed my phone on the couch, crossed my arms in silent protest. I didn't feel guilty. He was acting like a child. I told myself I wasn't chasing after him like those desperate wives on TV. But by 2 p.m., it started to bug me. He never stayed mad this long. Usually, he'd come home, sit on the couch, and act like nothing happened. But this time, it felt different. I called him. Straight to voicemail. "Eric, you're being ridiculous," I said, voice sharper than I meant. "Don't start this silent treatment thing. We're too grown for that." I hung up and tossed the phone aside, feeling justified. But doubt crept in. I replayed last night. Nathan's comments, my laughter, Eric's expression. Maybe I shouldn't have laughed so hard. But then I heard my mom's voice in my head, "Don't apologize for something you didn't do wrong." And I wasn't about to start now. It wasn't like I said the joke. Nathan did. I just laughed. That's not a crime. By 5 p.m., I was truly irritated. I called again, straight to voicemail. "Eric, I'm not playing this game with you," I said, voice louder, knowing he was probably listening. "If you're trying to prove a point, you did it. I get it. You're mad? Congratulations. Now come home." I paced the living room, jaw tight, feeling that old familiar urge to call him again. Just to push a response out of him. But I stopped myself. I hated when people did that to me, so I wasn't going to do it to him. Instead, I called my sister Brielle. She's 29 but acts like my mom. I told her what happened, and she laughed. "Girl, you know he's mad," she said, giggling like it was cute. "You know how men get when their pride's hurt. Ain't no telling where he is, but he'll be back once he cools off." Cool off from what? I snapped. Brielle sighed hard. "You laughed at him in front of another man. Not just any man. Your boss? That's basically putting a man's pride in a blender and hitting pulse." "I didn't laugh at him, I laughed at a joke," I said. "Claire," she said, like I was a kid. "That man wasn't joking. He was trying to son your husband in front of you. And you let him." That stuck with me more than I wanted it to. But I wasn't admitting it out loud. Yeah, well, if Eric wasn't so insecure, he wouldn't care. Brielle didn't argue. She just said, "Hey, girl. Let me know when he gets home," then hung up. By 9 p.m., I'd officially moved from he's being petty to where the heck is he. I checked traffic alerts, searched accidents near his job, called his friend Daryl. "Nah, haven't seen him today," Daryl mumbled half asleep. "Wanna call him?" I asked. "I already did," Daryl said quickly. "He's probably blowing off steam." "Yeah, probably," I said, "but if he swings by, tell him to check in." By 10 p.m., I was pacing for real. I texted again, "Me, Eric, it's getting late. I don't care if you're mad, just let me know you're safe." Still nothing. I sat on the couch, staring at the clock, biting my nail. This didn't feel like him. No matter how mad he got, he'd never just disappear, especially with the kids home. He always put them first, even if we were at each other's throats. I hated how fast my mind jumped to the worst-case scenario. What if he's in a ditch? What if something happened? I hated feeling this way. Out of control. At 11:30, the front door unlocked. I shot up, heart pounding. I wanted relief, but the moment I saw him walk in, relief vanished. He wasn't in work clothes. He was in a hoodie, smelling like a bar. Beer and fried food. "Where have you been?" I asked, standing with hands on hips. He didn't answer, just walked past me like I wasn't there. "Eric, I'm talking to you," I said, stepping in front of him. "You leave the house all day, don't answer your phone, and now you're acting like I'm invisible." He glanced at me, eyes dull and tired. I didn't feel like talking. Well, you could have said that, I shot back. I was worried about you, he snorted. You were worried? That's rich. Excuse me, I said, stepping closer. He finally looked at me and shook his head like he was done. You only worry when you're not in control, Claire. This ain't about me. My mouth fell open. You're being dramatic, am I? He said, stepping around me, grabbing a water bottle from the fridge, sitting like he'd lived 10 lifetimes in one day. Man's gotta disappear for a day just to get peace. Think about that. Don't try to flip this on me, I snapped, walking up to him. You think you're slick? You just wanted to make me feel bad. Now you're playing victim. Get over yourself. He opened the bottle slow, took a sip, leaned back. No arguing, no yelling. Just silence. You know what's crazy, he said, still staring at me. I used to think it was my job to protect you. Protect you from stress, money problems, whatever. But I didn't realize I'd have to protect myself from you, he said it so calm it felt like a knife in my chest. I stood, arms crossed, lips tight, telling myself I wouldn't cry. But those words wouldn't leave my head. You done? I asked, trying to sound tough. He nodded slowly, eyes still on me. Yeah. I'm done. He went to bed without another word. I sat on the couch, biting my nail again. He's being dramatic, I told myself. He always gets like this. But this time, I didn't believe me. I didn't sleep much, replaying his words, protect myself from you. At first, I thought he was overly dramatic. But the more I thought about it, the more it annoyed me. Protect himself from me? I'm not a monster. I'm his wife. How could I be the problem? I tried to sleep but my mind wouldn't shut off. By 3 a.m., I was scrolling through Instagram, double-tapping random pictures just to distract myself. I even watched one of those dumb relationship guru videos. Some guy talking about how men suffer in silence because they're too proud to speak up. Yeah. Cry me a river, I thought, rolling my eyes. Men always play the victim somehow. I scrolled past, but it stuck in my head. The next morning, Eric was gone before I woke up again. No surprise. But this time, I didn't wait around. I texted first. Me, you leaving without saying anything? Now real mature, no reply. I told myself I didn't care. But I did. I hated feeling out of control. Usually, I'd say something snarky and he'd react. This time, he wasn't playing my game anymore. That's what really bothered me. The kids were getting ready for school. Our 6-year-old Logan kept asking me to help tie his shoes. I kept saying wait, but he wouldn't listen. Emma, 9, was crying because she couldn't find her tablet. Emma, if you don't stop whining about that tablet, I'm going to lose it, I snapped, throwing lunch bags into backpacks. Mom, Logan still can't tie his shoes, Emma shot back like she was the parent. Now I know Emma, I yelled, spinning around. Y'all act like I'm supposed to do everything at once. How about you help him if you're so smart? Emma went quiet. Logan just looked up at me like I was the one who needed help. I sighed and knelt to tie his shoes. My fingers were tight from irritation. I accidentally pulled too hard. Logan winced but said nothing. He never does. Just like his father, I thought, and hated that. The whole morning felt off. I could feel it heavy in my chest. By 1 p.m., I was back scrolling Instagram. Then the text came. Eric, I'll be home later. Don't wait up, my jaw clenched. Before I could stop myself, I called him. It rang twice. He picked up. No hello, no small talk. What's that supposed to mean? It means don't wait up, Claire, he said, voice flat. It made me furious. Okay, so you're just not coming home? That's how we're doing this. Yep, his calmness spoiled me. I could feel heat rising in my neck. If you want to play this little I'm too cool to argue game, you can just stay wherever you're at, he said. Then I will, and hung up. I sat there, holding my phone like it betrayed me. My heart was racing. I knew if I called back, it'd get ugly. My fingers hovered over the call button. I stopped. Didn't want to give him the satisfaction. I called Brielle again. She picked up on the second ring. What now? She said, already tired. He's really trying to play this. I'm done with you, I said, pacing. Telling me not to wait up, hanging up like he's unbothered? He's never done that. Oh, Brielle said, half joking. You might have pushed him too far this time. Are you seriously taking his side? I'm not taking sides, Claire. Men don't say stuff like don't wait up unless they're trying to prove a point. Sounds like he's tired of you making everything a joke. That's not even true, I argued, weakly. Okay, she said slowly. Then why are you so mad right now? That hit harder than I wanted. Whatever, I said, rubbing my forehead. He can act tough. I'm not begging him to come home, alright, girl. Keep me posted, Brielle said. But we both knew something was different this time. That night, I sat in the living room, TV on low, pretending I didn't care that Eric wasn't home. I kept checking the time. Scrolling Instagram posts about self-love, putting yourself first. Like everyone else was in perfect relationships. It made me sick. By 10:30 p.m., I was done waiting. I texted again, me, you really not coming home? Seriously, no answer. Me, I hope you're enjoying yourself wherever you are. Must be nice not dealing with the kids all day, still nothing. See, this is why I don't feel bad about last night. If you're going to act like this every time your feelings get hurt, I'm not walking on eggshells for you. I sat there waiting for the little typing bubble. Nothing. Fine, be like that. I threw my phone on the cushion, folded my arms, pretending I was unbothered. But I was very bothered. I kept glancing at the phone every few minutes. No message. I thought about where he could be. Daryl's, his mom's house, a bar. Then something awful crossed my mind. What if he's with another woman? I shook my head hard, trying to shake off the thought. Eric wouldn't do that. I knew him too well. But my brain didn't care. It played out the worst scenes like a bad movie. Him sitting in a car, talking to some girl who understands him in a way I don't. My jaw tightened again. If that's what he wants to do, then he can stay gone. I grabbed my phone, heart pounding, and texted one last time. Me, don't bother coming back tonight. I'm locking the door. I didn't really mean it. Not fully. But I knew those words would hit him where it hurt. I watched the screen for what felt like forever, waiting for the typing bubble to appear. Come on, say something. Say you're sorry. Say you're coming home. But nothing came. By 1 a.m., I was pacing again. I checked the door. It wasn't locked, but I wanted to lock it. I sat at the kitchen table, scrolling Facebook, but my eyes kept drifting back to the clock. Then, at 1:23 a.m., I heard a car pull into the driveway. I jumped up like I'd been waiting for that moment all night. Standing by the door, hands on hips, ready to unload everything. I heard keys in the lock, and when Eric finally stepped inside, I expected guilt, an apology, anything. But no. He looked calm. And that scared me. You finally done pouting? I asked, voice sharper than I meant. He didn't answer right away. He set his keys down, took off his jacket, and looked at me like I was a stranger in his own house. I'm tired, Claire, he said quietly. I was ready to argue, but something in his tone stopped me cold. It wasn't the tired you get after a long day. It was something deeper, something I'd never heard before. I stood there, arms crossed, pretending not to care. Yeah, well, you're not the only one, I snapped. You think I'm living a dream life or something? Eric didn't flinch. Usually, he'd fire back something sarcastic, but this time he just stared at me like he was seeing me for the first time, like he finally understood something I hadn't. That's the thing, Claire, he said, shaking his head. I don't think you even know what you want. But I do now. My heart dropped. What's that supposed to mean? I asked, squinting like I thought I had him figured out. But I didn't. He didn't answer immediately. He walked into the bedroom, grabbed a duffel bag from the top of the closet, and started packing. I stood frozen, mind racing. He wasn't really doing this. He was just mad. This was a show. Where you going, Eric? I asked louder now. Where do you think you're going at 1 in the morning with a duffel bag like you're in some action movie? I tried to laugh, but it didn't land. He didn't even look at me. He folded a pair of jeans, slid them into the bag like it was just another Tuesday. Eric, I said, slower this time. Where do you think you're going? He finally looked up, and I saw it. The look a man gives when he's done talking, right before everything changes. You told me not to come back, he said, zipping the bag up. My chest tightened. My whole body tensed like I was bracing for a hit. Boy, stop playing, I said, stepping forward. I snatched at his bag, but he yanked it back before I could grab it. You're not going anywhere, I said, voice shaking. Don't let him see it, Claire. Don't let him think he's winning. He walked past me toward the front door. My mind scrambled for something to say. Anything that would stop him, that would make him stay. So you're just going to walk out on your family? I yelled, following him. You're a grown man, but you can't handle an argument without packing a bag. He glanced back, eyes calm but sharp. I'm walking out on you. I'm not walking out on my kids. I blinked, stunned. "Oh, so now you're father of the year," I said, laughing bitterly. "Since when?" "Since you stopped being a wife and started being my competition," he fired back. He opened the door and stepped outside. That hit me harder than anything he'd ever said. It stung in a way I wasn't ready for. "You're just mad because I don't bow down to you like I'm one of your little employees," I yelled, stepping halfway out the door. "You want some submissive little housewife who bites her tongue all day? Go ahead. Go find her." Eric turned on the porch and looked me dead in the face. "I don't want a submissive wife, Claire. I just want a peaceful one." My mouth opened, but nothing came out. He walked down the steps and kept going toward his car. I stood there, heart pounding, watching him unlock the door like it was in slow motion. I could have said something. I should have said something. But pride wouldn't let me. "You'll be back," I said, arms folded, voice quieter now. Trying to convince myself. He didn't turn around. I heard the engine start. My heart raced. I felt a panic I'd never felt before. This wasn't like before. He wasn't coming back tonight. But still, I stood on that porch with my arms crossed, pretending I had it under control. He pulled out of the driveway. No hesitation, no pause, no second glance. When the taillights disappeared down the street, it hit me all at once. He was really gone. I went back inside, slammed the door harder than I needed to, and leaned against it. My breath was fast, heart thudding in my chest. Tears built behind my eyes, but I swallowed them down. "No. Don't cry. You didn't do anything wrong." I sat down on the couch, phone in hand, waiting for him to text me like he always did. But no message came. I refreshed the screen every 5 minutes, staring at the time as if I could will it to happen. 1:42 a.m. 2:45 a.m. Nothing. The next few days were rough. He didn't come home, and I didn't reach out. I figured he was waiting for me to apologize like I always did. But this time, I refused. I wasn't going to let him have all the power. By day 4, I finally texted him, "May, are you done with your little break? The kids are asking where you are." No answer. That's when the fear crept in. Not because I missed him, but because I realized something I'd never thought of before. What if he was serious? I scrolled through his Facebook page. No posts. No feeling blessed statuses. No cryptic new beginnings quotes. Nothing. Except one thing I didn't like. He'd changed his profile picture. It wasn't him. Just a plain black square. No caption. No explanation. What does that even mean? Curious, I clicked his relationship status. Still married. I breathed a small sigh of relief. He was just being dramatic. If he was serious, he'd change that first. That relief lasted 2 hours. Then Emma came into the kitchen holding my phone. "Mom, your phone's ringing," she said, handing it to me. It was an unknown number. "Hello," I answered, distracted while folding laundry. "Hi, is this Claire?" a woman's voice asked. Firm but smooth. "Yeah, who's this?" I asked, heart already pounding. "This is Angela from Bailey and Mears Law Firm," she said. "I'm calling on behalf of Eric Thomas regarding a pending legal matter." I stopped folding. My heart stopped too. Wait, I said, gripping the phone tighter. "What legal matter?" "We're reaching out to confirm your mailing address," she said, voice steady. "We'll be sending paperwork regarding the filing of a legal separation." I didn't breathe for 10 seconds. Yeah, I stammered, heart pounding so loud I could hear it in my ears. "All right. You should receive the documents within 2 to 3 business days. If you have questions, feel free to contact our office." The call ended. I just stood there, phone in hand, eyes wide like I'd seen a ghost. Legal separation. He hadn't even told me. He just did it. I dropped the phone on the counter and slowly sat down. My legs felt weak. My kids laughed in the living room, oblivious. I wanted to tell them to be quiet but couldn't find the words. For the first time in a long time, I realized I didn't have control. I sat there staring at nothing, waiting for my phone to buzz with a message from Eric. But it never did.